when it comes to oil prices, I think the expectation coming into these EU sanctions was that we would see a disruption to oil flows, particularly if the oil price cap was low enough. To put into perspective where the oil price cap is, it's around, or being discussed right now, it's about $65 to $70 a barrel. But if you look at where the main Russian oil benchmark is, the Urals, that's around 50 to 55. Now, as it currently sits, no one really has to sign up for the oil price cap to get access to insurance and shipping services from the EU. So that means China, India, and Turkey, who account for most of the oil exports out of Russia, can still get their oil without disruption. And I think that's been the key takeaway from the conversations we've seen from the EU. Now, we know that Poland and the Baltic states are disagreeing heavily with how high that price cap is. But realistically speaking, are we going to see that price lowered because of their dissent? And the next few days we'll get sighting. But so far, the news flow indicates that it may be too high to be effective.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I wanted to ask you, Vivek, because they're having issues when it comes to the price cap controls when you're talking about gas. They're having issues, the EU that is, when it comes to trying to set a floor price in terms of these price caps. So realistically, how does this, for one, end, but secondly, even if they were to come to some form of consensus, is it really going to be effective? Because you mentioned the Urals when you're talking about the export prices trading at what? It's 52, so 50, 55 like you mentioned. But it's not going to stop other countries from entering into their own deals with China, or Russia entering into their own deals with China, with India, and just eschewing what the G7 and the EU is trying to do anyway.
Absolutely. Like that's pretty much the case that we have right now with oil, is that we're concerned that the disruption that everyone was factoring in is just not going to happen. And I'd say that there's going to be a different story that'll unfold come February when we talk about refined products, because a similar set of restrictions and a cap are going to be put in place come 5th February 2023 when it comes to refined products. But the key difference when it comes to refined products, particularly diesel, is that most of that is still going to the EU. So once the EU has to step aside and not buy any of the Russian diesel, that's going to result in supply disruption purely from EU sanctions. But what we're seeing very clearly is that the oil price cap is just going to be non-effective part of the policy. And that's something that was certainly not expected before the price cap discussions were taking place. And this is something that I think the market is going to see oil price expectations lower as a result.